Dusty. How are you, man?
I'm doing all right.
Good, good. So I'm David. This is Dusty. This is ultra runner extraordinaire, kayaker, skier, you name it, man. You've done pretty much everything, eh?
Yeah.
So we're hanging out in Sault Ste. Marie on the U.S. side. I'm a Canadian, and Dusty's obviously an American. And we thought we'd kind of meet halfway and just get together and talk a little bit about kind of a lot of different things. Some of it, to do with Lyme disease. Some of it just kind of racing. Some of it just kind of living life and what's new, right? So Dusty, fill us in, man. Like, what's been kind of going on with, I guess, the last couple of years, right? We've had some difficulties come up with Lyme disease that's kind of snuck up into your life and going from
getting my butt kicked by Lyme disease. Like stiff joints and ugly headaches and a lot of pressure in the back of my head and just night sweats, and it's ugly. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that doesn't know what Lyme disease is, it's a tick-borne illness that these ticks carry, and literally they'll bite you and literally bury their head in your skin. And what sucks is sometimes you don't even know what's happening, right, until you see like a bullseye. And sometimes they don't even give you a bullseye, like on some of them, or maybe you even miss them, right?
The tick bite I got, it just looked like a spider bite. I didn't really think much of it, and I was, running 140 miles a week and working 30, 40 hours a week construction. And, I just thought I was overtrained and had the flu, and so I let it go way too long before I actually went to a doctor and got it taken care of. It was beyond. Unfortunately, with Lyme disease, if you don't attack it aggressively early on, things just get worse and worse and worse as more things grow in your system. And
what was one of the things that you started to notice? So like you were running and you saw the tick, right?
Yeah.
And so kind of fill us in kind of what happened there.
Well, my knees, I started feeling like I was walking on flypaper, and like my ankles and knees started getting really sore, and then I started getting a fever, like flu-like conditions. I had 102 fever for like 3 weeks, and I was like, I had full-on like late-stage Lyme symptoms of Lyme's meningitis. My hand got so swollen I couldn't even unzip my pants to pee. I was pretty much crippled.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so did you know so you had no idea what was going on?
No,
but you knew you got a tick bite though, right?
Yeah, but I didn't really, because it was
not on your radar.
Yeah, I didn't really start feeling the effects until like 3 weeks later. I did the Voyager 50, and I was pretty much in the best shape of my life. I was running in the low fives in speed work on the track. Like my last 800 was like 210.
210
at the end of 6K of 800s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let it loose. I was in really good shape, and I started off the race feeling really good, and like halfway point, my body got all red, and I had these crazy goosebumps. And then the next morning I woke up and I could hardly pick my feet up, and just kind of went spiraled downhill from there. And a friend of mine that I was working with had the exact same symptoms, and I went in first, and we both had Lyme disease.
Yikes. So when you get diagnosed with Lyme disease and you're an ultra runner and you're an outdoor enthusiast and you're doing all these things, what's going through your mind?
I was trying to get healthy.
Like, were you like freaked out? Like, were you like, what the hell do I do?
No, I mean, I'm a pretty tough guy, and I've been through a lot of stuff and put my body through way more things than most people, So I just it's another challenge in life. I'm be able to get through it. I mean, I've been through a lot of things, but...
And how many years has it been now?
7.
Describe those 7 years in a few words.
Tumultuous. There's the good days, and it's your immune system. If you're taking good care of yourself, your immune system can fight it, and you feel better. But you can't unfortunately, my lifestyle is burning the candle at both ends, and I don't really know how else to,
live?
I mean,
You
I'm a
just do-
carpenter, ski bum. You know? I live by my heart, not my head. Follow my passions, and those don't really.
Live a life of no regrets, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But when your life starts to get affected, I mean, if you can't work with your hands, I mean, you're self-employed, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm mainly a carpenter. I mean, yeah, that was another hard thing. I kept trying to take on like these sales rep jobs in the outdoor industry. Lost money trying to find work that didn't cripple me.
Over the last 7 years, you've had to do all kinds of different things to deal with Lyme. Fill us in. You know, and some of those things that you've had to do, like some things worked, some things didn't work. You had doctors, how do you deal with that? Like,
I don't know. Every day is another. You just kind of got to move forward. I mean, it took me. I mean, the first doctor I saw, even though the second time I was in his office, I tested positive for Lyme's after he treated me. And then he decided to just treat me with the same antibiotic, just a double dose, which the first dose didn't knock it out. And then after that, he never returned my phone calls, and he avoids me in public, and he's scared of me, you know.
wow. So
It took me like 2 years to actually find a competent doctor that actually understood my symptoms and treated me for things like babesia that I could have died from, the heart condition.
So, how was your mental clarity? Was it starting to get affected? Because I know with a number of people, some of them have issues with memory loss. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's just brain fog.
It was ugly. There was a point where, I mean, before like a couple of months in 2012, before I found when I was really suffering, before I found the specialist, I couldn't. I mean, I had to use my GPS to find places I've been at. I was running on trails in Duluth, like having to do I go left here or right here? And I was like, I've been here, and then I think to myself, it's like I've been on this trail thousands of times in my life. Why do I even have to think of which direction I need to go?
Over the last 7 years, this has been going on, and so you've done some acupuncture, you've talked to some naturopaths, you've navigated these waters with Lyme, and I guess over the last number of years, Lyme has become more and more prevalent in the Northeast, and it's slowly spreading everywhere. You've done acupuncture and you've done all these things, and so things have helped.
Yeah, I mean, it's a constant battle. I mean, the acupuncture definitely helps to like relieve the swelling in my joints and kind of it's pretty much anything that helps detoxify your system seems helps. But yeah, I've been on way too many things.
And so I'm going to kind of come in with a little bit of my story now. So how did we even end up in Sault Ste. Marie, and how did I ever get together with Dusty? And I had friended Dusty on Facebook earlier on because I think Dusty's got an awesome story to tell, regardless of Lyme. Just with the life he's lived, I believe a lot of people can relate to Dusty's story. And I've kind of tried to convince him to write a book, and so other people have as well.
If I were only left-handed and dyslexic.
Yeah, but so am I. I'm dyslexic, dude. Come on, man. You can do
I can
this.
hardly read a book.
Someday. So I said, so I reached out, and I friended him, and he accepted my friend request. And that's the cool thing with social media. Now, how did I know about Dusty? Is I read a book called Born to Run. From Chris McDougall, and there was a guy in there named Scott Jurek, and seeing what he accomplished, Dusty was his friend, and Dusty got him over the finish line at Western States 6 times. And for someone that doesn't know what Western States is, just Google it. But it's an ultramarathon that runs from Squaw Valley to Auburn through the mountains, and it's pretty awesome. And so I've kind of been hooked on that, and I got hooked on from that into ultra running, and I've had friends of mine who are pretty much just the same. And so I kind of reached out and said, hey, you know what, Dusty, I Googled your name. I know that you have Lyme disease. I have something that can help you. Would you be willing to talk to me? And believe it or not, he just reached out and Facebooked back, said, yeah, absolutely, Dave, for sure. Gave me his number, and next thing you know, we talked on the phone for an hour. Go ahead and contact you, Dusty. Like, what are you thinking? Like, who's this Canadian guy?
Yeah.
Like, what is this guy's about?
You know, I've been on the same thing for like almost a year now, so yeah, I'm looking for new things that will hopefully clear things out. So yeah, it's an endless fight. I've been on so many different supplements and so many things. So yeah, sure, I'll try it.
So I sent it to him. So I said, this is what you need to do. And I put it in a package. I wrote it all down for him. And then I just sent it over to him. So he gets it. We talked on the phone. And it's been about 2 months. I think it's been about 2 months now. And I said, hey, would you be willing to meet up with me and go for a run if you're up for it? And sit down and let's talk about this, because Lyme's huge, and there's so many people out there that are spending thousands and thousands of dollars. Right?
The thing that takes it out is going to take other things out of your system too. So you got to recover from the antibiotics also.
Yeah, you can't be on that like full time, right?
Yeah,
like,
no, I was on 6 different antibiotics, of like 500,000 milligrams of 6 different antibiotics for 6 months, and it wasn't fun.
No, man. So Dusty takes me up on the offer. I send it to him, and so fill me in, Dusty. How's it been going for the last 2 months? So the product we've been using is a product called DōTERRA. Okay, DōTERRA Essential Oils. They're based out of Utah, and I am a wellness advocate for them, and I just have to let everybody know that that's what I am as well. So Dusty, fill us in with how things have been going and what you've been, and I'll kind of pipe in what you've been taking as well. But so fill us in.
I started taking the stuff, and immediately I started feeling like herxing. So it's definitely get into my system and cleansing stuff and moving stuff around. And like I always have these crazy migraine headaches, and there's like an intense pressure in the back of my neck and back of my head, and it seems to be starting to ease up a little bit. My joints have been getting a little bit. My ankles and knees are usually really swollen and stiff, but slowly. I mean, it's a long, slow fight with Lyme disease. But yeah, my joints and ankles are starting to get a little more freer, and I've noticed my ankles aren't as bad as they generally have been in the last 6 months without other stuff like acupuncture and stuff. But it's definitely going in the right direction.
That's good, man. That's good. So Dusty, so I was talking to Dusty, that was about 2 weeks ago, and he's like, okay, Dave, so how do we get this? He goes, I just don't want to run out of things now. So I said, this is what we need. So he gave me his information. I enrolled Dusty, and now he's got his own membership, and he can now order all of his own products and get delivered to wherever he is. Because Dusty, you're a little bit nomadic, right? Like you move around a little bit with construction. You've got things going on all kinds of places, right?
Yeah, I've always kind of bounced between Colorado and Minnesota. And
moving forward, Dusty, so things seem to be improving with you with Lyme. So if other people want help with Lyme disease, that may be suffering and don't know how to get out of where they are, would it be okay if they contacted you, Dusty?
yeah, I generally always, people contact me quite a bit, and just I share whatever information I can with what works for me. It's an ugly fight. That's like one of the worst part of it. Like, because most doctors you talk to them about Lyme disease, and one thing they don't know anything about it, and you know, I hardly graduated from high school, and I can talk above most doctors about Lyme disease and the different antibiotics and the co-infections and stuff just through I've learned directly dealing with it. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of it's a hidden disease where, you know, the big medicine they can't make enough money off it.
If you've got a fever of like what 102 or something like that for a number of weeks, you may want to.
Unfortunately, my pain threshold is a little bit too high, and like a normal person wouldn't put themselves through that. But
well, Dusty, you do run hundreds and 50s.
Yeah, like I should have gone to the doctor a lot earlier, but I didn't, and I should have gone to a competent doctor. And I mean, he was a friend of mine for like 20 years, and got someone I've skied together with a lot. But yeah, he failed to refer me to someone, a specialist that knew what I was dealing with, or at least try a little harder, or return my phone calls after the second treatment. Dave Terry said the body is always constantly rebuilding itself, and if you knock it down, it'll just rebuild itself stronger. So hopefully. Spoken
like a true ultramarathoner, okay? Spoken, literally.
I mean, people fall out of airplanes and live and recover from it.
That's true.
You know,
right?
I mean,
so
hopefully, you think a guy like me could recover from a little tick bite from a pin-sized tick?
Well, you'd think.
No.
Lyme will hit you hard, right? And Dusty's living proof of that. So what we're doing, I mean, like I said, if you want to know what Dusty does and his protocol, like, it's too long of a protocol to actually kind of put out on here, but if you want to know if you're going through Lyme, or if you know somebody with Lyme disease, you can reach out to us, and we'll do what we can to help you, right? And show you different things that you can use that's, you know, all natural. There's no chemicals in any of these things. What do you feel comfortable doing?
Well, I'm just kind of right now, I've just been working on taking care of myself. But I mean, I can run. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, what my Lyme doctor was just like quoting my Lyme doctor, just because you can run with fat, swollen ankles doesn't mean you should.
In other words, Dusty does that from time to time, right?
I could still run, but you know, it's just, that's the thing. You can't, with Lyme disease, you can't burn the candle at both ends.
No.
If you feel tired, you have to rest, because otherwise you're not going to recover. And you know, I'm a person that hardly ever got sick, and yeah, I mean, for me to be like, yeah, you have to like rest. It's kind of
you got to look after yourself.
Pretty hard thing to accept in my life.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, Dusty, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it, man. I think.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problem, man. And so, what are Dusty and I going to do? We're going to go run.